Ambassador Yuna had lived on the Galactic Unity Station for 3 years. She was the human representative. Her job was to talk to aliens, make deals, and keep the peace between Earth and the rest of the galaxy. She was good at her job. She was calm. She was patient. She never raised her voice. But today was different. Today, Yuna was not alone in her quarters. 3 small humans sat on her couch. They were her sister's children. Hannah was 4 years old. She had long black hair tied in 2 ponytails. She was quiet, but watched everything with sharp eyes. Taiho was 5. He was the oldest and thought he was the leader. He talked a lot and moved even more. And then there was Gino. He was only 3. He was small and round and had the loudest voice of all 3. Yuna loved them. She really did. But she had not planned for them to be here. Their parents were supposed to pick them up 2 days ago, but their transport ship had broken down near the outer rings. Now they were stuck waiting for repairs. And Yuna was stuck with 3 human cubs on an alien space station. She looked at them now. Taiho was jumping on the couch. Hana was drawing on Yuna's important papers. Ginu was trying to eat a decorative plant. Yuna took a deep breath. "Okay," she said. "New rule. No eating plants. No jumping. No drawing on anything that looks official." The children looked at her. They blinked. Then they went back to doing exactly what they were doing before. Yuna sighed. Her communicator beeped. It was a message from the Valorian ambassador. The meeting was in 1 hour. All delegates were expected to attend. YU, and it looked at the children. She could not leave them alone. The last time she left Taiho alone for 5 minutes, he had somehow reprogrammed her door to play music every time it opened. She still did not know how he did it. She had no choice. She had to bring them. The walk to the meeting hall was long. Yuna held Jinu's hand. Hannah walked beside her, quiet and curious. Taiho ran ahead, then ran back, then ran ahead again. Aliens stopped and stared as they passed. Most species on the station had never seen human children before. They had heard stories, of course. Humans were famous across the galaxy. They were strong. They were stubborn. They did not die easily. But their young? That was a mystery. A tall insect like being stepped back as Taiho ran past. "What is that?" It asked another alien. "A human cub," the other whispered. "I heard they are wild, uncontrollable." Yuna pretended not to hear. They reached the observation deck where the meeting was held. It was a large room with big windows that showed the stars outside. Delegates from 12 different species sat in a circle. They all turned to look when Yuna entered. Then they saw the children. The room went silent. The Valorian ambassador was the first to speak. He was tall and thin with hard shell-like skin and long antennae on his head. His antennae twitched nervously. "Ambassador Yuna," he said slowly, "you have brought offspring?" "Yes," Yuna said. She kept her voice calm. "These are my niece and nephews. Their transport was delayed. They will be staying with me for a few days." The aliens looked at each other. Some leaned back in their seats. Others leaned forward with curiosity. "They are so small," a Relaxian observer said. She was a being made of soft, jelly-like material. Her body wobbled as she spoke. "And there are 3 of them. Is this normal?" "For humans, yes," Yuna said. Do they always move like that?" Another delegate asked. Yuna looked. Taiho was spinning in circles. Hana was touching everything she could reach. Ginu had found the corner and was talking to it. He was having a full conversation with the wall. "Yes," Yuna said. "This is normal." The meeting began. Yuna tried to focus. The delegates talked about trade routes, resource sharing, and border agreements. Yuna took notes and nodded at the right times. But part of her mind was always on the children. For a while, things were fine. The cubs were quiet. Hana sat on the floor and drew pictures with her fingers on the glass. Taiho found a seat and swung his legs back and forth. Jinu fell asleep in Yuna's lap. Then the vacuum turned on. It was a small robot. Round and flat. It was a standard Earth model cleaning bot. Yuna had brought it from home. It cleaned her floors every day at the same time. She had named it Machi because Jinu liked that word. Machi hummed to life and rolled across the floor. You woke up. His eyes went wide. He sat up straight. He stared at the vacuum like it was a monster. Hana stopped drawing. She turned around slowly. Her eyes locked onto the robot. Taeho stopped swinging his legs. He stood up. His hands became fists. Yuna noticed the change. She had seen this before. She knew what was coming. It is just a vacuum, she said quickly. It cleans the floor. It is harmless. But the children did not hear her. They only heard the hum of the enemy. Yu was the first to move. He slid off Yuna's lap. He stood on his short legs. He took a deep breath, and then he roared. It was not a big roar. He was only 3. But it was loud. It was fierce. It came from somewhere deep in his little chest. The alien delegates froze. Hana stood up next. She picked up her stuffed rabbit from the floor. She held it like a weapon. Taiho grabbed a cushion from a nearby chair. He raised it above his head. The 3 cubs stood together. Their eyes were locked on the vacuum. Their bodies were tense. They were ready. The war had begun. The vacuum did not know it was in danger. It was just a machine. It had one job: clean the floor. That was all it understood. It hummed forward, following its usual path, unaware that 3 small predators had marked it as their prey. Jinu roared again. This time, it was louder. His face was red. His tiny fists shook at his sides. He did not know why he hated the vacuum. He just did. It was loud. It moved on its own. It was wrong. And he would stop it. Taeho took command. He was the oldest. That meant he was the leader. At least, that was what he believed. Hana, go left, he whispered. Jinu, stay here. I will attack from above. Hana nodded. She moved to the left side of the room, her stuffed rabbit ready. Jinu did not understand the plan, but he understood one thing. Do not let the enemy escape. The Valorian ambassador leaned toward another delegate. What are they doing? He asked. His antennae were flat against his head. This was a sign of fear. I do not know, the other alien replied. But I am afraid to move. Ambassador Yuna stood up slowly. She raised her hands. Children, she said in a calm voice. Please, it is just a cleaning robot. There is no need to attack. Taiho shouted. He threw his cushion. It sailed through the air and hit the vacuum with a soft thump. The vacuum stopped for a moment. Its sensors were confused. There was an obstacle. It turned to go around it, but Hana was waiting. She jumped in front of it and swung her stuffed rabbit down. The rabbit hit the vacuum's top with a soft pat. The vacuum beeped. It turned again. It tried to escape, but Jinu was there. The smallest cub stood in its path. He spread his arms wide. He roared for the 3rd time. The sound echoed through the observation deck. Several alien delegates covered their ears. One of them made a noise of pure panic. The vacuum stopped. Its sensors scanned the obstacle. Small, warm, alive. It tried to calculate a new path. Left was blocked. Right was blocked. Forward was impossible. It spun around to go back. Taiho had already jumped off his chair. He landed on the floor and grabbed another cushion. This time, he did not throw it. He ran at the vacuum and slammed the cushion down on top of it. The vacuum beeped loudly. Its wheels spun. It was trapped. Hannah climbed onto a chair and jumped down, landing next to her brother. Together, they pressed the cushion harder. The vacuum's wheels whined. It could not move. Jinnu walked up slowly. His face was serious. His eyes were dark. He looked down at the trapped machine. Then he sat on the cushion. The vacuum gave one last beep. Then it stopped. Victory. The room was silent. No one moved. The alien delegates stared at the three human cubs with wide eyes. Some of them had never seen violence before. Their species had evolved beyond physical conflict. They solved problems with words, with math, with careful thought. But these children, these tiny, soft, loud creatures, they had just attacked the machine with cushions and a stuffed animal. And they had won. Yuna rubbed her face with both hands. She did not know what to say. The Relaxian observer spoke first. Her voice was shaky. They worked together. Without speaking, they knew what to do. Yes, another delegate said. The small one. He blocked the escape route. He knew. How did he know? Instinct, a third alien whispered. They have hunting instincts. Like predators. Yuna wanted to explain. She wanted to say that this was normal. Human children played like this all the time. They chased things. They tackled things. They climbed and jumped and made loud noises. It was not hunting. It was just being a child. But the words did not come because she looked at the cubs. And she saw what the alien saw. Taiho stood tall, his chest puffed out. He was proud. He had led his team to victory. Hana stood beside him, calm and silent, watching the fallen enemy. And Jinnu still sat on the cushion, guarding it like a soldier protecting his post. They looked like warriors. Tiny, messy, cracker-stained warriors. The Valorian ambassador stood up slowly. His movements were careful, like he was afraid to make sudden sounds. Ambassador Yuna, he said, I must ask, is this how human young are trained? Trained? Yuna repeated, yes, for combat, for war. We have heard that humans are fierce, that they do not surrender, that they fight until the end. He pointed one long arm at the children. Do you teach them this? From such a young age? Yuna almost laughed, almost, but the alien was serious. His antennae were still flat. His eyes were wide. He was truly afraid. No, she said. This is not training. This is playing. Playing, the Valorian repeated. He did not understand. Yes, human children play. They pretend. They imagine. They turn everything into a game. Yuna walked over and gently lifted Jinnu off the cushion. He grumbled, but let her pick him up. They saw the vacuum as an enemy, so they fought it. But it was not real combat. It was just fun. The room was quiet again. Then the Rylaxian spoke. Fun, she said slowly. Attacking a machine. Trapping it. Defeating it. This is fun? Yes, Yuna said. The aliens looked at each other. They did not understand. Their young did not play like this. Their young were quiet, careful, controlled. The idea of small ones fighting for fun was strange and frightening. Jinnu squirmed in Yuna's arms. Put me down, he demanded. I have to guard. Guard what? Yuna asked, the enemy. He pointed at the vacuum. It might wake up. Yuna sighed. She put him down. He immediately ran back to the cushion and sat on it again. Taeho walked over to Yuna. He looked up at her with bright eyes. Did you see? He asked. We won. We beat it. I saw, Yuna said. Are you proud? Yuna looked at the frightened aliens. She looked at the defeated vacuum. She looked at Genu, guarding his prize, and Hana, quietly drawing again as if nothing had happened. "Yes," she said. "I am proud." And somewhere deep in her chest, she meant it. By the end of the day, everyone on the station knew what had happened. The story spread fast. Aliens talked in the hallways. They sent messages to their friends. They wrote reports to their governments. The news was everywhere. 3 human cubs had attacked a machine. They had worked together. They had shown no fear. And they had won. Ambassador Yuna tried to go about her normal business. She walked to the food hall to get dinner for the children. But everywhere she went, aliens stopped and stared. Some of them stepped back when they saw the cubs following behind her. Others watched from a safe distance, whispering to each other. Yun had pretended not to notice. But the children did not pretend. "Why are they looking at us?" Taiho asked. He waved at a group of tall, bird-like aliens. They flinched and hurried away. "You made an impression today," Yuna said. "What does that mean?" "It means they remember you." Taiho smiled. He liked being remembered. Hana walked beside Yuna, holding her stuffed rabbit. She did not say anything, but her eyes moved constantly. She was watching the aliens, studying them. Yuna noticed that Hana always noticed things. She was quiet, but she missed nothing. Genu was tired. He held Yuna's hand and dragged his feet. The battle had taken a lot out of him, but he refused to be carried. He was a warrior now. Warriors did not get carried. They reached the food hall. It was a large room with tables and chairs of many sizes. Aliens of all species came here to eat. There were plants and meats and things that glowed. There were drinks that bubbled and foods that moved on their own. The children stared. "I want the blue one," Genu said, pointing at a bowl of glowing soup. "You do not know what that is," Yuna said. "I want it. It might taste bad. I want it." Yuna sighed. She ordered the blue soup for Genu, along with simpler food for Taiho and Hana. They found a table in the corner and sat down. Yu took one sip of the blue soup. His face twisted. He pushed it away. "I do not want it," he said. Yuna did not say anything. She just gave him her bread. While they ate, a group of aliens approached their table. Yuna recognized them. They were scientists from the Valorian Research Division. They studied living beings from across the galaxy. The lead scientist stepped forward. He was shorter than most Valorians, with darker shell plating and extra-long antennae. He bowed his head in greeting. "Ambassador Yuna," he said, "I hope we are not disturbing your meal." "You are not," Yuna said carefully. "How can I help you?" "We have a request." The scientist glanced at the children. Taiho was making a tower out of bread pieces. Hana was feeding imaginary food to her rabbit. Genu was asleep with his face on the table. "We would like permission to observe the human young." Yuna blinked. "Observe them?" "Yes, for scientific purposes. We have never had the chance to study human development. Today's event has raised many questions. We wish to learn more." Yuna was not sure how to feel about this. Her niece and nephews were not test subjects. They were children. Loud, messy, wonderful children. But she also understood. The galaxy knew almost nothing about human young. Most species kept their young hidden away, in pods or nurseries or underground caves. They did not let them run free in public spaces. The idea of studying human children was new. And maybe Yuna thought it was important. "You may observe from a distance," she said finally, "but you cannot touch them. You cannot run tests on them. And you cannot scare them." The scientist nodded quickly. "Of course. We understand." "Thank you, Ambassador." He bowed again and left with his team. Taiho looked up from his bread tower. What did that bug man want? He wants to learn about you, Yuna said. About me? Why? Because you are interesting. Taiho thought about this. Then he smiled. Good, I am interesting. The next morning, Yuna woke up to find 3 scientists standing outside her door. They had notebooks. They had recording devices. They had small cameras on their shoulders. We are ready to observe, the lead scientist said. Yuna looked at the clock. It was very early. The children were still asleep. Now, she asked, human young are active in the morning, yes? We have read reports. They are active all the time, Yuna said. But they also need sleep. We can wait. And they did. They stood outside the door for 2 hours. When the children finally woke up, the scientists followed them everywhere. They watched Taiho eat breakfast. They watched Hana brush her teeth. They watched Jinyu cry because his socks did not match. They took notes on everything. Yuna found it strange at first. But the children did not seem to mind. Taiho actually enjoyed it. He started doing extra things just so the scientists would write them down. Look at this, he said, doing a spin. Write that down. I am spinning. The scientist nodded seriously. He wrote in his notebook. By afternoon, word had spread even further. Diplomats from other species sent messages asking for information about human children. Some asked if they could observe too. Others asked if human cubs could be trained as soldiers for hire. Yuna said no to that last one, but she could not stop the interest. The galaxy was watching, and it was not just curiosity. There was fear too. The Relaxian observer came to visit that evening. She moved slowly, her jelly body rippling with each step. She sat down across from Yuna while the children played in the next room. I must be honest, the Relaxian said. Your young frighten me. They are just children, Yuna said. That is what frightens me. The Relaxian paused. My species produces 1 offspring every 100 years. We raise it in complete silence for the first decade. It learns through observation. It never makes a sound. It never fights. That sounds peaceful, Yuna said. It is. But it is also weak. The Relaxian's body shivered. You're a young scream. They fight. They challenge. They do not wait to be told what to do. They act. She looked toward the doorway. From the other room, they could hear Jinyu roaring at something. That small one. He fears nothing. Why? Yuna thought about it. She did not have an easy answer. Maybe because no one has taught him to be afraid, she said finally. He has never faced real danger. Everything is a game to him. The vacuum was just another game. And in games you can win. The Relaxian was quiet for a long moment. Perhaps, she said softly, that is the secret of humanity. You raise your young to believe they can win, even when they cannot. Yuna smiled. Maybe. From the other room, a crash sounded. Then Taiho's voice. The lamp started it. Yuna stood up. Excuse me, she said to the Relaxian. I need to go stop a war with the furniture. The message came on the 3rd day. The Galactic Council wanted a formal meeting. All 12 species would be present. The topic was simple. Human offspring. Yuna read the message 3 times. She was not surprised. After the vacuum incident and the lamp war, and the time Jinyu bit an alien plant because it looked like candy, she knew questions would come. But a full council meeting? That was bigger than she expected. She dressed the children carefully that morning. She put Hana in a clean blue dress. She made Taiho wear a shirt with no stains. She even managed to put matching socks on Jinyu, though he cried about it for 10 minutes. Why do we have to look nice? Taiho asked. Because we are meeting important people? Yuna said. More important than you? Yes, Taiho thought about this. Are they scary? Some of them are very large. But you do not need to be scared. Just be polite. What does polite mean? It means no roaring. Jinu frowned. He liked roaring. The council chamber was the largest room on the station. The ceiling was so high it disappeared into darkness. 12 platforms floated in a circle, each one holding a delegate from a different species. In the center was a smaller platform for speakers. Yuna walked to the center platform. The children followed. They held hands in a line. Hannah first, then Taiho, then Jinu at the end. They looked very small in the big room. The Council Prime spoke first. He was an ancient being, made of living stone that shifted and cracked as he moved. His voice was deep, like rocks grinding together. Ambassador Yuna of Earth, he said. Thank you for attending. We have called this meeting to discuss a matter of great interest. You're young. Yuna bowed her head. I am happy to answer any questions. Good. The Prime looked at the children. Jinu waved. The Prime did not wave back. We have received many reports over the past 3 days. Your offspring have demonstrated unusual behavior. They show no fear of machines. They coordinate attacks without verbal communication. They emit loud vocalizations that cause distress to sensitive species. The roaring, someone muttered from one of the platforms. Yes, the Prime continued. The roaring. We wish to understand. Is this deliberate training? Are human young prepared for combat from birth? Yuna took a breath. She had expected this question. She had practiced her answer. No, she said. Human children are not trained for combat. What you have seen is play. It is natural behavior for our young. They pretend. They imagine. They turn ordinary objects into adventures. Adventures, the Prime repeated. Yes, to a human child, a vacuum cleaner is not just a machine. It is a monster, a dragon, an enemy to defeat. They fight it because fighting is fun, not because they are preparing for war. The council was quiet. Yuna could feel their doubt. The Valorian ambassador spoke next. Ambassador, I must respectfully disagree. I have observed your young personally. They show tactical thinking, group coordination, fearlessness. These are not the traits of play. These are the traits of warriors. Perhaps, Yuna said, that is because play and training are the same thing. The room went silent again. Yuna continued. Human children learn through play. They learn to work together. They learn to face fear. They learn to fall down and get back up. By the time they are adults, they have practiced these skills thousands of times. Not because someone taught them, but because they could not help themselves. It is who we are. The Rylaxian observer leaned forward. But why? Why do your young behave this way? Our children are quiet, protected, kept safe from all threats. Yuna looked at the 3 cubs behind her. Taiho was trying to stand on 1 foot. Hana was counting the floating platforms. Jinu had found a loose thread on his shirt and was pulling it. Maybe, Yuna said slowly, it is because we are not a protected species. The aliens waited. Humans did not evolve in safety. We evolved in danger. There were predators everywhere. There was hunger. There was weather that could kill us. Our young had to be strong. They had to be loud. They had to fight back against everything that tried to hurt them. Yuna paused. Even if that thing was just a vacuum cleaner. The Prime's stone face shifted. So you are saying that human young are practicing survival? Through play. Yes, Yuna said. Every game is practice. Every imaginary battle is a lesson. By the time a human child grows up, they have already won 1,000 wars in their mind. That is why we are the way we are. That is why we do not give up. Because we learned when we were very small. That giving up was never an option. The chamber was silent for a long moment. Then, from somewhere in the room, there was a small sound. It was Genu. He had gotten bored. He was sitting on the floor now, his eyes half closed. His head was drooping. He was falling asleep. Yuna looked at him. 3 years old. He had defeated a vacuum cleaner. He had terrified a room full of diplomats. And now he was taking a nap in the middle of the most important meeting in the galaxy. She could not help it. She smiled. "If you will excuse me," she said to the council, "I need to attend to my warriors. It appears one of them has entered rest mode." She walked over and picked up Genu. He grumbled, but did not wake. She carried him back to the platform. Hannah tugged on her sleeve. "Can we go now?" she whispered. "I am hungry." "Soon," Yuna whispered back. The Prime watched all of this. His stone face was unreadable. But when he spoke again, his voice was different, softer. "Ambassador Yuna," he said, "thank you for your explanation. I believe we have much to learn from humanity. And from your young." Yuna nodded. "They are happy to teach, although they may ask for snacks in return." For the first time in the meeting, someone laughed. It was a small, bubbling sound from the Rylaxian observer. "Snacks," she said. "Even warriors need snacks." "Especially warriors," Yuna agreed. The meeting ended soon after. The council had more questions, but they agreed to discuss them later. For now, the cubs needed food and rest. As Yuna carried Genu out of the chamber, Taiho walked beside her with his chin held high. "Did we do good?" he asked. "You did very good," Yuna said. "Are we heroes now?" Yuna looked at him, at Hannah, at the sleeping Genu in her arms. They were small. They were messy. They were exhausting. But yes, in a way, they were heroes. "You have always been heroes," she said. "You just did not know it yet." Taiho grinned. "I knew it. I told Hannah. She did not believe me." "I believe you now," Hannah said quietly. And together, the small warriors went to find their snacks. On the 5th day, the transport ship finally arrived. Yuna stood at the docking bay with the 3 children. The cubs were freshly washed and dressed in clean clothes. Hannah clutched her stuffed rabbit, now slightly more worn from the week's adventures. Taiho bounced on his feet, unable to stand still. Genu held onto Yuna's leg and refused to let go. The ship's door opened. A woman stepped out first. She had the same dark hair as Hannah, the same sharp eyes. Behind her came a man with Taiho's wide smile. Their parents. "Finally here, Mama!" Taiho shouted. He ran forward and crashed into his mother's legs. "Papa!" Hannah followed, more controlled, but just as happy. Genu did not move. He stayed attached to Yuna. The mother, Sumi, hugged her oldest 2 children tightly. Then she looked up at Yuna. "I'm so sorry," Sumi said. "The repairs took forever. We came as fast as we could." "It is okay," Yuna said. "They were interesting." Sumi laughed. "That is one word for it." The father, Dahan, walked over and gently lifted Genu from Yuna's leg. The little boy grumbled, but let himself be held. "Did they cause trouble?" Dahan asked. Yuna thought about the vacuum, the lamp, the glowing soup, the council meeting, the dozens of scientific reports now circulating across the galaxy. "A little," she said. The family gathered their things. The cubs said goodbye to Yuna with hugs and waves and, in Genu's case, one final roar. Then they walked toward the ship. But before they boarded, Genu squirmed out of his father's arms. He ran back to Yuna. "Wait," he said. He reached into his pocket and pulled out a folded piece of paper. "I made this. For you." Yuna took the paper. She unfolded it carefully. Inside was a drawing. 3 stick figures stood on top of a round shape. The figures had big smiles. The round shape looked unhappy. "That is us," Jinu explained, pointing at the figures. "And that is the monster." He pointed at the round shape. "We won." Yuna felt something warm in her chest. "I see that," she said. "Thank you, Jinu." Jinu nodded seriously. Then he ran back to his parents and climbed onto the ship. Yuna watched them go. The door closed. The ship lifted off. Through the window, she saw 3 small faces pressed against the glass, waving until they disappeared into the stars. Yuna stood there for a long time. She did not expect to miss them. They had only been here for 5 days. 5 loud, chaotic, exhausting days. But now the station felt empty, quiet, too quiet. She walked back to her quarters. The vacuum sat in the corner, still trapped under the cushion. She had not moved it since the battle. She did not have the heart to. She picked up the cushion and looked at the machine. It hummed to life immediately, ready to clean. "You survived," she told it. The vacuum beeped and rolled away. Yuna smiled. That evening, the Valorian ambassador requested a meeting. He came to her quarters with a formal document in his hands. "The council has made a decision," he said. "YUN took the document." She read it carefully. It was a resolution. A formal statement from all 12 species. It had a long, official title filled with words like understanding and cooperation and cultural exchange. But the important part was simple. Human families were now welcome on the Galactic Unity Station. Human children were recognized as valuable members of the community. Their behavior, though unusual, was understood to be natural. And the galaxy agreed to study and learn from human development practices. At the bottom of the document was a line that made Yuna laugh. Section 7. All cleaning. Robots on the station will be programmed to avoid human young during active hours. We thought it was wise, the ambassador said, to prevent future incidents. That is probably for the best, Yuna agreed. The ambassador nodded. He turned to leave, then stopped. "Ambassador Yuna," he said, "I have a question. A personal one. Go ahead." "You're young." The little one. The one who roared. The ambassador's antennae twitched. Was he truly not afraid? Of anything? Yuna thought about Jinu, 3 years old. Small and round and loud. He had charged at a vacuum with no plan, no weapon, and no doubt. "No," she said. He was not afraid. How is that possible? Yuna looked at the drawing in her hand. 3 stick figures on top of a defeated monster. Because he believed he could win, she said. And no one ever told him he was wrong. The ambassador was quiet for a moment. Then he bowed his head and left. Yuna pinned the drawing to her wall, right next to her window, where she could see the stars. She thought about the cubs. About Taiho, who led battles with cushions. About Hannah, who watched and learned and struck at the perfect moment. About Jinu, who roared at anything that dared to challenge him. They were just children. But they had changed things. Across the galaxy, alien species were writing new reports. They were studying human development. They were asking questions they had never asked before. Why are human young so loud? Why do they fight without fear? Why do they play like they are at war? And the answers were spreading. Humans are not born brave. They are raised brave. Humans are not born strong. They are trained strong. Through play. Through games. Through small roars echoed in empty rooms. Every human adult was once a child, who fought vacuums and wrestled furniture and screamed at the dark. Every human soldier was once a cub who believed, without question, that they could win. That was the secret. That was the power. Not muscles. Not weapons. not technology. Belief. You and I looked out at the stars. Somewhere out there, on a transport ship heading back to Earth, 3 small warriors were probably causing trouble again. She hoped they never stopped, because the galaxy needed more roars. On Earth, in a small apartment, Hana, Taiho, and Jinu had already found their next enemy. It sat in the corner of the kitchen, making strange noises every time it turned on. Steam came out of its mouth. Water went in and dirty dishes came out clean. The dishwasher, Jinu stared at it. His eyes narrowed. "That thing is alive," he whispered. Taiho nodded slowly. "We need a plan." Hana picked up her stuffed rabbit. The dishwasher did not know it yet, but his days of peace were numbered. In the distance, a small roar echoed through the kitchen. The war continued. And somewhere in the stars, an entire galaxy was learning what it meant to be human. One small battle at a time.